administration still wants to get Abrego Garcia out of the country and to Liberia, we are learning tonight?
Yeah, so remember they talked about maybe removing him to Costa Rica. Well, now they're talking about potentially removing him to Liberia. That is the current status that they want to remove this man to. Now, you'll remember this is where Liberia is. If you don't know where it is on the map, it's in Africa, obviously, as you can see. But when it comes to Kilmar Abrego Garcia, there was a lot of back and forth. As you know, he was removed wrongfully to Sicot in El Salvador. That was an issue, so he was brought back after a lot of back and forth there.
Right.
Now he's once again potentially going to be removed, and we don't know the timeline of that, Blake. Obviously, there's that restraining order that he can't be detained right now, but it's likely that DHS, that the Trump administration, will work to remove him sooner than later.
All right, so you've been all over the country, right? And especially as the Trump administration goes from sort of city to city, a lot of the major American cities. Let's show it real quick. Whether it be LA, New Orleans is where you've spent, what, the last week or two, something like that, with the 250 arrests there. You have brand new reporting tonight on where the administration will not be making apprehensions and detentions. Tell me.
Yeah, so a lot of these places, right? So we know Los Angeles, we know Chicago, Operation Midway Blitz, we know Charlotte with the Charlotte's Web, and then New Orleans with the Catahoula Crunch. Now we can tell you that they are stopping the sweeping raids, those Home Depot raids. We're not going to be seeing Home Depot in the background of these videos.
No more of those.
Not for the foreseeable future. Right now, we're going to be looking at targeted enforcement operations. Those are going to be individuals who have committed heinous crimes. Because remember, everybody who's crossed the border to this administration is a criminal. So just saying they're going after criminals is not necessarily enough anymore. They're going to be going after targets, people that they're on a docket, people that they know have committed crimes like rape, murder, things like that. But they're not going to necessarily be doing these sweeping raids. Now, we'll also see them on traffic stop enforcement as well. That's something that we can also see them doing, running license plates, seeing if someone is here legally or not, and then making the apprehension through that. But we're not going to be seeing them necessarily grabbing people off the streets like we've seen. And in this situation, this was a Home Depot sweep. We did see someone run, and we saw this apprehension in real time.
So I want to show for our audience here on NewsNation or those listening to us on SiriusXM the president's approval ratings, right? Because this was his best issue, immigration, President Trump's. And you can go back to April. It was basically, Allie, a 50-50 split, right? So here's April. This is June, which was when we saw the scenes unfold in Los Angeles. But look at what's happened since. And right now, 38%, 60% disapprove of the president's immigration policies, only 38% approve. And now you're telling me that they're going to stop things like those Home Depot raids. Is it because of this?
What happened right here, right? In LA, we saw that unfold in real time. We saw the Home Depot raid that led to that huge clash at Paramount. We saw massive issues in LA. Then that continued into Chicago as well. We saw those sweeping raids. And you see the polling right now, and you kind of see the court of public opinion, and you see that that's not a favorable thing. They don't necessarily, when you talk to anyone, Blake, especially on the streets, or you go to any of these city council meetings, people that are in favor, they'll say, we like what's happening. We don't like how it's being done. And so it seems that they're shifting this tactic a little bit to fit more of what people want to see and to maybe improve the ratings here that we're seeing. But it's important to note, too, that with this operation in a red state, it's not necessarily a red city in New Orleans, but they are operating in the suburbs in Louisiana. And the reality is, Greg Bovino, right now, the commander, he says they've arrested 250 people in a week. The goal for the long term is 5,000 for Catahoula Crunch. But they have not had a single assault or a threat of violence or a vehicle ramming or anything like that in New Orleans. Completely different than we've seen in all of these different instances. So that's another piece that comes to play, because you see the assaults happening and you see the interactions with the public and the protesters, and that's not faring well either. And so that's not happening in New Orleans.